I love storms, and I thought some of you might too, so I'm going to show you how I would paint a storm. We're going to start with getting some clouds in there. And this might not seem like a stormy sky color, and it isn't. I'm using a quill brush, and I'm just dipping in clear water to spread this around because this blue is pretty intense. And as part of that, I'm getting quite a bit of water on my, okay. Really nothing you do in this part is going to matter too much. It's going to get covered. I just want to give this feeling of clouds. I'm going to let it kind of fade out on this side a little bit. And then, so that we don't have a sharp line, I'm just going to wash this out down here. Now I'm going into my darker color and just going to get a few more clouds. Okay, this part I want to be quick, and then I'm going to dry my paper and we'll get into the stormy part. Now this isn't bone dry, but it's dry enough that it won't leave fingerprints. And now we're going to get into some of these dark colors. I'm going to add Payne's Gray for a more gray, and it looks like I'm ruining my painting, but don't worry. At this point, I'm going to spritz a little bit. I want this to float and spread. Some places with just the blue, other places with the black. Kind of filling it in. Rinsing my brush. I don't want to lose all of the light at the bottom. Rinsing it again. And at this point, I want it to be tipped. Actually, it probably would be better to start with a board. I want more of a rain look coming down, so I'm gonna tissue up some of that. Fill in with some of this other blue. And while I have that other blue out, make some water down here, not worrying about the little rough spots in it. Kind of looks oceany. I want these streaks to come down in like rain and to run a little bit sideways, but not down the side of the page all the way. So I'm going to keep this picked up with a tissue, and I'm tipping it even more, and you can see it coming down. I think I need a little more black over here. And I'll spritz that to get it moving. So I purposefully have had it going on this side of the lighthouse because I want there to be this glow of light over here. You kind of have to keep after these drips a little bit. Now that's come all the way down. It's raining right on that land. And I think we need to get it to come all the way down on this side too. So this is a little bit of just play it by ear and see how it looks. So you definitely need your tissues or paper towels. I like tissues better because they don't leave a paper towel pattern on things. I like really soft ones, so I either use the soft Kleenex ones or puffs without lotion. And now, of course, our water is going to have some dark in it too. Getting a little bit more black right in here. It's a little bit dangerous to do that because then you can get some blooms. Picking up water with the brush, drying it on the sponge, and then picking it up so that it just doesn't keep. When I get to the end of the video, I'm going to go through the 3 or 4 steps that are really important to making this kind of a sky work. Let's take the tape off. I just used Pro masking tape for that and then cut it with a Stillo knife. This is an Aqua Elite round and it has a great point and is fun to use. I've dipped my brush so that there's plenty of water on it. And I'm going to put the shadow on this side. I've dipped my brush again so that this is mostly clear water. Rinse it some more clear water, and you don't want to get splashes on other places because it will make spots. I'm going to go all the way across and have it be some gold over here. Get this side darker. And I'm going to put some of the grays into it. It's amazing how dark something can get and still look basically white. Okay. This actually would have worked better to do this part with the Da Vinci brush, which is another squirrel hair brush that's just soft. And so the color spreads from one area to the next really well. And now we'll do this. Could have gone all the way up and done the same treatment on this, but now I'm going to show you with this better brush. See how soft it flows from one spot to another. It just makes blending super easy. Now you might notice that I've really gone over the edge a little bit because these sharp lines, you know, on a stormy, cloudy day, they wouldn't be that sharp. So I'm actually agitating that edge less than 1/8 of an inch in. Using tape is a great way to, you know, keep the flow of the sky going for that kind of a background, but it does leave a sharp edge. I'm using Payne's Gray for my black. And I've lost my drawing, so I'm finding the center and going from there. Now it's a little bit too wet for me to do that yet, so I'm gonna just let it almost touch it. If it runs, you can use a tissue and we'll make a shadow there. There's a little something at the top. For now, we're gonna go on to the land. Now this is where I'm gonna use some of that magenta. I'm going to take some quinacridone rest and magenta and the blues, purpley brown, maybe you should call it, for the land. That's extremely dark. I don't want it all to be that dark. Now I am doing this edge before it dries there so that it becomes a soft edge. I want some of this color in to tie in that lighthouse colors. I'm even putting some blue in there. Just going to let that kind of blend around a little bit. Now, there were some trees here in the photo, but I don't know that they'll add anything to. Now some finishing touches. I'm going to use this soft brush again. I want some of these purple colors to be in the water. Dip it in the paint. Now I'm sure you're wondering what on earth is going to happen with the reflection of the lighthouse, and for that I use bleed proof white. And I dip it with a clean brush. You don't want to contaminate it. It's kind of hard to get it back if you do that. And I'm going to mix it with I'm mixing it with some of this yellow mixed in. Just putting some idea of a lighthouse there, not much. Now I'm also going to use the bleed proof white. I'm going to get more of it out and do some very dry brush work. I'm getting a whole new brush out the sponge and pinching it between my tissue so that it's damp but very dry. And so I'm making some more of these rough areas. Don't want to go overboard, but I want some that's, you know, even splashing up here a little bit, because I'm getting a gray here, and I'm turning it up at an angle that's easy for my hand to do. And this side will be darker. And as I come across, I'll dip my brush and wipe it off and have it turn more gray. And that is what helps it to look round. Now we have this railing, which would show here, but on the ends we have to mix a little bit of white for it to show. And even back here, might make it a gray or white, but in order to show it has to. And this side of this as well. And it would have been better if I had remembered to start it off the way I did these, darker on one side. Oops, I splashed over there. That will dry as a mark if you don't clean up your splashes. And now I'm just adding water and moving that over. It becomes less defined. I'm going to put a little bit out here just so you can see where it is. I'll do that on these as well. I think it's time to take the tape off. 3 tips to making this painting work. Number 1 is the brush. You need a quill brush that's very soft, and this Princeton Neptune number 8 really works. And then having a smaller quill works. This is a number 2 Da Vinci Casaneo, and a Princeton Aqua Elite has a great point. See how far out that comes, so you can do tiny detail with it. Number 2 is don't be afraid of the darks. You have to put some dark areas in, and that's okay. And number 3 is have a spray bottle handy. And number 4 is have fun. Happy painting.